see. How's it going, Clinton?
Good, Tim. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. I had to run home 3 times. I kept having trouble transferring stuff to the office because I was working from home today. And so, yeah, it was hectic getting things set up. But yeah, I'm ready now.
All right, that's what counts.
Yeah, we're excited to show you how far the designs come. I know we showed you some previous stuff, and I've got all the renders finished and everything, and I can send you any images that you want that that you can share with people.
Great.
So, hello everyone. We're gonna give everybody like another minute to see if we can get some more people to jump on. We got about 20 people on right now, so just be patient. We'll give everybody another minute to get online. Jacqueline, I'll go ahead and jump to the next slide so Isaiah can be reading it because there's kind of a lot of language on there. That way you can start looking at that, so after you finish saying it, he can repeat it.
Hey everybody, this is Councilmember Narvaez. Y'all let me know when y'all are ready to get started.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we're gonna have Jacqueline introduce the meeting. We normally start a few minutes late to just give people a chance to get in. But yeah, Jacqueline's gonna start, and then the interpreter's gonna, say what Jacqueline said, and then David's gonna take over, and then we'll give you the mic.
Sounds great, thank you.
So
thank you, Jacqueline, and gracias, Raíz, por estar aquí con nosotros. Thanks, everybody. Just let me know when y'all are ready.
Yes, sir. Thank you for coming. It's 7:05 now, Jacqueline. I think it's okay to start. Does everybody feel good with starting right now? Okay.
I think we're good.
All
right. Hi, everybody. I'm Jacqueline. I'm the project coordinator with Team Pain. Just want to let you guys know that this meeting is being recorded. So welcome to the City of Dallas, Bachman Lake conceptual review. So with that, I am going to toss it over to David Mills with Parks and Rec, and he's going to introduce, give you a little bit of history on the project and introduce also some council members that would like to speak.
Buenas tardes a todos, mi nombre es Jacqueline y soy la coordinadora del proyecto, recordándoles a todos que pueden de alguna manera, si tienen preguntas, hacerlas durante la presentación en la barra del chat. Voy a entregarle la palabra al señor Payne para que él pueda hacer algunas presentaciones y algo de la historia de el equipo. Go ahead.
David, you can jump in now.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Sorry. So good evening and welcome to the second public meeting on the Bachman Skatepark. My name is David Mills and I'm with the City of Dallas Park and Recreation Department, and I'm the project manager for this project.
Thank you,
Buenas
David.
tardes a todos y bienvenidos a la segunda reunión pública de este proyecto. Yo soy el gerente del proyecto y les doy la bienvenida.
Let me begin by thanking everyone for your attendance and your interest in the skate park and for the input that you'll be providing to the design team as they work on refining the design for the skate park.
Quiero comenzar de la manera más atenta agradeciéndoles por estar aquí y también agradeciéndole al equipo de desarrollo del parque de patinaje y el diseño.
Bachman Park is located in Council District 6, which is represented by Councilmember Omar Narvaez. Council District 2 is also represented by Councilmember Jesse Moreno. Council District 2 has a presence in the park at the Recreation Center.
El Parque Bachman está en el distrito número 6 del Consejo del Distrito número 6, que creo que está conducido, dirigido por Omar Narváez. También el concejal número 2, Jesse Moreno, está presente.
Councilmember Narvaez, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you so much, and thank you to everybody for joining us. And I also want to thank the Payne team for being here and listening. This is our second meeting in order to hear from you, the general public, on what you'd like to see at this regional skate park that is located in District 6 at Bachman Lake Park. And I want to give big thanks and shout out to District 2, not only my current colleague, Jesse Moreno, who is also a former park board member, for his advocacy in helping bring this to fruition when he was on the park board, but also for his continued advocacy as a council member now that he's my colleague. And I also want to give a shout out to my former colleague, former Mayor Pro Tem Adam Medrano, for bringing together this and helping us with the bond dollars so that we could make this happen. And last but not least, I have to give big special shout outs to our current park board members for District 6, Tim Dickey, and to Fania Mondell from District 2, who are both on the call as well, who represent us excellently on the Dallas Park and Recreation Board. Gracias a todos por estar aquí. Me llamo Amanda Rice. Yo soy concejal del Distrito 6 y tenemos mucho orgullo que todos están con nosotros porque este parque de patinar es muy importante para, no nomás para el parque, pero para todo el distrito de 6 y 2 y toda la ciudad de Dallas. Gracias a todos. Let me kick it over to my colleague, the Honorable Jesse Moreno.
Thank you, Councilmember. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jesse Moreno, and I represent District 2, which is just adjacent to this great facility at Bachman Lake. And I just want to give kudos to my colleague, Councilmember Narvaez, for all the great work that he's doing at Bachman Lake with the regional aquatic center and now the skate park. I also want to make sure that everyone in this call knows and appreciates Dr. Haley, who's really the driving force behind all of this, who said, why doesn't Dallas have a skate park? Why don't we have a regional skate park that is truly something that Dallas should be proud of? And so I just want to thank you for all your work and advocacy. As mentioned earlier, I've been working on this project since my time on the park board. And so this is a project that's near and dear to my heart. And I want to thank my former colleague, Tim Dickey, and my park board, Representative Vania, for continuing the great work on this. I look forward to this project being discussed further. I want to make sure that we have your input, that we hear the details that you want to see in this project become a reality. Buenas noches, mi nombre es Jesse Moreno. Les quiero dar gracias por estar aquí esta tarde. Yo represento el Distrito 2 en la ciudad de Dallas y aquí estamos para escucharlos esta tarde. Queremos que los ve lo que usted quiera ver en el skatepark. Le quiero dar muchas gracias al señor Dr. Haley, porque él es el señor que puso las fuerzas para que podamos tener este parque. Y a la señora Juania Mandel y el señor Tim Dickey, gracias a todos por estar aquí esta tarde. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Moreno. We also have Mr. Tim Dickey, who's the Park Board representative for Council District 6. Mr. Dickey, would you like to say something?
Tenemos al señor Dickey también representando el distrito número 6. ¿Le gustaría decir algo, señor?
Thank you. It took me a while to figure out the technology here. This is just a great moment, and I look forward to hearing what everybody has to say. It's Dallas's long-awaited, biggest ever, first massive, great new skate park. It's the successor to Skatepark, original Bachman Skate Park, original one that was there when I was growing up in the 70s. And compared to what we're going to be seeing today, it's nothing but ramshackle what that was. But ramshackle as it was, it still produced some nationally recognized young skaters that Tim Payne will probably know about. So it's just incredible to think what this new wonderful skate park is going to bring forward. So I'm really looking forward to it. And thank you everyone who had anything to do with this great project.
Gracias a todos. Estoy muy de manera a la expectativa y muy aprensivo a escuchar y ver lo que se va a presentar el día de hoy. Sé que este parque de patinaje es un proyecto masivo, el sucesor del parque que existía antes en los 70s, y comparado con esto, pues es algo extraordinario. Sin embargo, ese parque produjo muy buenos patinadores, muy reconocidos a nivel nacional. Y gracias a todos por estar presentes.
Thank you. And I believe we also might have Council District 2 Park Board Representative, Ms. Fonya Mondale, on the call. Would you like to say something?
I think they really summed it up. Ay, dale, por favor. Me escupes.
Tenemos a la señora Mondel presente. Le gustaría decir algo y parece que la señora estaba diciendo, ya se dijo todo en resumen. Gracias.
Y también aquí estoy por ustedes. Bienvenido a todo que le gusta patinar, como roller skate or skateboard or whatever. I think that this is a park that's going to be utilized throughout different levels of what skate park means. So I really look forward to that. Thank you.
Creo que este es un parque para ustedes. Son bienvenidos. Creo que va a ser un parque muy adepto a todos los tipos de patinadores que existen y todos lo van a disfrutar. Gracias.
Thank you. With that, I'll turn the meeting over to Tim Payne with Team Payne. Tim?
Right, Mr. Payne, if you give me just a second of privilege, I also want to shout out that our DISD, our Dallas Independent School District board member for this area, Joe Carrion, has just joined the call. Gracias a el mesa efectivo de DISD, Joe Carrion, el representante de esta área, está con nosotros también. Gracias, Joe. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Mr. Payne. You can go ahead and take the floor.
Thank you, Councilman. Gracias.
Thank you. My name is Tim Payne, and I've been blessed to be a part of this project. You know, this was a project that went out to bid, and we were awarded the project. And I wanted to just take a minute and give you a little bit on the history of our company. If you know, you weren't in the first meeting, we had a longer intro there. But my name is Tim Payne. I've been designing and building skate parks for over 35 years.
Buenas tardes a todos. Ya vieron algunas presentaciones. Yo soy el coordinador de esta presentación y pues mi nombre es Tim de nuevo y he diseñado y construido parques de patinaje por muchos años.
One of the biggest satisfactions of designing and building skate parks are seeing the users of the facility and seeing the contests and events that are held at the parks.
Una de las mayores satisfacciones en construir estos parques es ver a las personas utilizándolos y recreándose en ellos.
There's a great outpouring of local bicycle shops, skateboard shops, many people that will use the park on a day-to-day basis. The nice thing about skate parks is there's no coaches, there's no teams. Everybody's there to just self-perform, which is very, interesting and creative.
Y pues debido a la gran cantidad de personas utilizando este tipo de parques, nosotros el beneficio que vemos diario es la cantidad de personas que los tratan de utilizar y uno de los mayores beneficios que miramos es, o que tenemos es que no hay ningún tipo de instructor, no hay ningún tipo de equipo de organizado, no hay ningún coach que esté ahí, es para que la persona que llegue a utilizarlo lo haga de manera creativa y de manera individual.
Some of the organizations that we see using the park, one that I like to mention is Mike Rogers' group, Grind for Life.
Y quisiera mencionar algunas personas, especialmente a una de las organizaciones, el grupo de Mike Rogers, Grind for Life.
He's greatly involved in helping people with cancer and, helps them with their travel expenses and, their financial expenses getting to the hospitals.
Y una de las mayores funciones que ellos tienen o ayuda que ellos prestan es ayudando a las personas con cáncer en sus gastos y ayudando a las personas a obtener ayuda para ingresar a estos hospitales.
Boards for Bros is a growing organization that now has 7 locations and they're nationwide where they collect boards throughout the year and get donations and assembles hundreds of boards and gives them out to the underprivileged youth in the community.
Y hay otra organización, Boards for Bros, o sea, tableros para hermanos. Es una organización que ayuda mucho con donaciones a través de todo el año para la comunidad. Mr. Payne, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but can you adjust the resolution on your screen? I don't know if everyone is having the same effect, but I only see a quarter of your screen.
Oh. Can somebody else chime in and tell me if they see the whole screen or a quarter of it?
I'm seeing the whole screen too.
Jacqueline?
Yeah, the whole screen's on there.
Okay. All right, maybe it's this resolution on your screen. My resolution is really high.
No, I got it. Something happened. It got fixed.
Okay. Well, I worked with the ESPN X Games for 7 years, designing the vertical ramps and the street contests from like 1995 to 2002.
He trabajado con algunos equipos o grupos desde 1995 hasta 2002.
And, one thing that was really cool is 2 years ago, the Adaptive Sports Foundation, they were searching for a skate park that was handicap friendly to hold an event at. And when they came to the St. Pete Skate Park, they said, this is it, and chose the St. Pete Skate Park to hold the first Adaptive Sports Foundation contest there.
Y hablando acerca de deportes adaptados o adaptivos, ellos de alguna manera fueron pioneros en esta categoría. Ellos desarrollaron un parque que estaba acondicionado para personas con disabilidades en Pródigo St.
Petersburg, yeah, Florida. And so, they dedicated it as a wheelchair-friendly skate park, which is really nice.
Es un parque de patinaje dedicado a sillas de ruedas, muy bien adaptado, muy bonito.
To show some people some examples of our work, this is a 50,000 square foot skate park in Arvada. Um,
Para mostrarle a algunas personas algunos de los trabajos que hemos hecho. Este es un parque de 50,000 pies cuadrados en Nevada.
mhm. This is Colorado Springs.
En la pantalla es Colorado Springs.
Yeah, it has a flow bowl, a competition pool bowl, a backyard pool, and a huge street course.
Tiene diferentes tipos de trayectos o áreas donde puedes jugar, pero menciono los nombres de Flow Bowl y Street Course.
Mhm. You'll get the language. This is a park we just finished 2 years ago, Frederick, Colorado, and it was really cool because a lot of artists got involved in painting the park.
Y este es un parque que se completó hace un par de años en Frederick, Colorado, y lo más atractivo de este parque es la forma en que fue pintado o decorado.
And the two full pipes that you see on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen were donated by a local steel factory. So a lot of our projects, a lot of people donate fire hydrants and different elements to the park. So it's really neat seeing the community pitch in with art, granite, marble, different kind of elements, to go into the skate park. So those two full pipes that you see are 12 feet tall, and they were trucked in and donated for free.
Algunas de las cosas que ven en la pantalla por la parte de abajo, en la parte izquierda, esos cilindros de metal, fueron donados y transportados de manera gratis, y es muy elemental y también satisfactorio ver cómo muchos miembros de las comunidades y algunas organizaciones contribuyen con granito, con arte, con mármol, y lo hacen de manera gratuita.
And this is a St. Petersburg skate park that we were talking about before the Adaptive Sports Foundation held their event at.
Y este es el parque de St. Petersburg, donde se realizó el evento de deporte adaptivo.
Lakeland, Florida.
Este otro está en Lakeland, Florida.
Pueblo, Colorado.
Este está en Pueblo, Colorado.
Jacksonville Beach, Florida.
Y Jacksonville Beach en Florida.
So every park is unique and different, and it caters to the local involvement in this community input process.
Y cada parque es único y diferente, y siempre con atención a la comunidad local individualmente.
So our design approach for the Bachman Lake Skate Park, we are to create a skate park approximately 40,000 square feet with a potential future phase for a pump track.
Y el diseño que utilizamos para el parque de Bachman Lake, perdón, es un diseño de 40,000 pies cuadrados.
Yeah, and the location is on the northwest side of Dallas, on the corner of Webb Chapel and Denton Drive.
La locación, como la pueden ver en la pantalla, es al lado del noreste de Dallas, en la esquina de Webb Chapel y Denton Drive, junto al aeropuerto de Dallas Love Field.
Yeah, next to the Dallas Love Field Airport.
Seguido al aeropuerto de Dallas Love Field.
Yeah, and so the amenities at Bachman Lake is over 200 acres of lake, 5K hike and bike trail, 16 station exercise circuit, picnic tables, boating, recreation center, aquatic center with plenty of water fountains, benches, and restrooms.
Algunas de las comodidades que pueden encontrar en este parque son 235, un lago de 235 acres, una caminata de 5 kilómetros y una prueba en bicicleta, un circuito de ejercicio de 16 estaciones y áreas de picnic. También hay un paseo en barco y centro de recreación, un centro acuático y fuentes de agua y baños públicos.
Here's a few views from the site where you can see the airport facing southeast.
Y en esta gráfica pueden ver cómo el aeropuerto está en la parte frente al sudeste.
Looking south, you see the water treatment facility and the bike loop.
Y en la parte sur ven la unidad de tratamiento de agua.
There's many valuable trees on this site. Lake Bachman is known for all of the diverse trees that we need to preserve.
Y absolutamente se encuentra poblado con árboles de mucho valor. Y nuestro objetivo también es preservar estos árboles.
We were given an identified site and a fixed area to work with.
A nosotros se nos entregó un área ya identificada y fija para poder trabajar ahí.
We did a geotechnical study and we got 15 borings that were 20 to 30 feet, and that was to establish the quality of the soil and the water table at the site.
Hicimos un estudio geotécnico para poder completar este proyecto.
We also had to take into account the sewer lines that ran through the site, so we could integrate the skate park with the complexity of the site.
Y por supuesto tuvimos que tomar en cuenta las líneas de drenaje para poder integrarlo con la perplejidad del área.
We reached out to the public a few months ago, and the meeting, we got 299 survey responses from the locals that watched the video live and watched it on YouTube for the week that it was live.
Y nos acercamos al público un par de meses atrás y 299 personas respondieron, o obtuvimos 299 respuestas de personas que completaron la encuesta y vieron el video en vivo.
Some of the questions that we asked were, do you live in the Dallas area?
Y algunas de las preguntas que hicimos, fueron, ¿vive usted en el área de Dallas?
Yes, and 275 people are from the Dallas area.
De estas 299, 275 son del área de Dallas.
We asked, what will you be using to ride in the facility? And 254 of those respondents were skateboarders, 24 were bike, 11 were scooter, 14 were quad roller skaters, and 41 were roller skaters.
Y preguntamos a las personas qué era lo que iban a utilizar ahí para poder accesar al parque y obtuvimos en patineta 254 personas, en bicicleta 24 personas, en scooter 11 personas, en quad 14 personas y en patines 41 personas.
So we asked them how they would describe themselves as a beginner, an intermediate, or an advanced rider. And so the majority of people that filled out described themselves as intermediate to advanced riders, which means that we have a knowledgeable base to gather our information from. You know, because we don't want to design a skate park based off of beginners' input. We want it off the intermediate to advanced people.
Hicimos la pregunta en cuanto a cómo se describirían ellos, los participantes, en cuanto a su nivel de experiencia y pues algunos contestaron principiantes 33, intermedios 158 y avanzados 105 personas. Esto quiere decir que nuestra información y datos obtenidos de este grupo de personas son datos verídicos de gente con experiencia. No queremos basar nuestras encuestas o resultados con personas con experiencia de iniciar o principiante.
Mm. So we asked the users what type of skate park would they like. Would they like mostly street or would they like mostly transition? And the biggest response that we got was they want a mixture of both, street and
Hicimos una
transition.
pregunta a los participantes qué tipo de parque necesitarían, si un parque dedicado o en la calle, y obtuvimos respuesta de los dos. Elementos de la calle fueron 45 y elementos de transición 80.
And some of the overview of the results, and this is going through 299 comments. 74% of the respondents were skaters. 89% of the respondents consider themselves advanced or intermediate users, with 11% beginner. During the last meeting, some vocalized wanted street elements, but the survey showed that only 15% wanted only street, where 57% wanted both street and transition elements. 83% like the idea of having separate areas throughout the park. Don't make it all together, but make it separate features. The biggest overwhelming response that we got was for the want of a snake run at the site. 75% people wanted a snake run. They expressed the need for shade structures and lights. And they really liked the idea of bringing art, colored concrete, and something to memorialize Dallas as the history that Dallas brought to skateboarding.
Y también, en resumen, los resultados de la encuesta en Dallas obtenidos fueron: 74% de los encuestadores eran patinadores, el 89% de los encuestados se consideran usuarios intermedios o avanzados. Y durante la última reunión algunos expresaron deseos de elementos de calle, pero la encuesta muestra elementos de calle y de transición, mientras que el 27% solo adquiere elementos de transición. Una de las el 83% le gustó la idea de separar las distintas áreas de patinaje. Una de las respuestas más abrumadoras que obtuvimos fue que 75% de las personas quieren un snake run, o un diseño de serpiente, y también tenemos estructuras con sombras, baños y iluminación fueron requeridas o sugeridas. La mayoría de las personas comentaron que les gustaba el arte, el color, el concreto, específicamente la memorialización histórica de algunos patinadores en el parque y en el área también del parque.
So the specific request from the writers is to make sure that we had plenty of hubble ledges, manual pads, rails. Make sure we have both round and square rails, slappy curbs, granite features, small and medium stair sets. They wanted to make sure that they were pretty easy to ride. Brick stamping color concrete, and a separate street plaza if possible.
Algunas de las solicitudes, la mayoría quería incorporar algunos flujos incorporados con múltiples cuba, repisas, almohadillas, manuales, rieles redondos y cuadrados, bordillos slappy y características de granito, juegos de escaleras pequeñas y medianos, estampado de ladrillos, hormigón o coloreado. El área de la plaza de la calle también sugirieron que fuera separada.
So the bowl comments, the majority of people wanted a flow bowl and a competition bowl that catered to intermediate and advanced users.
Y la mayoría de personas querían un flow bowl, un bowl diseñado para competencias, para uso regular y competencias para ese tipo intermedio.
And the flow bowl, they wanted to be 4 foot deep in the shallow end and 8 feet deep on the deep end with extensions, channels, and escalators.
El flowball sugirieron que fuese de 4 pies de hondo en la parte menos honda y con 6 a 8 pies en la parte de hondo en la parte de la parte más profunda, con extensiones de canales y escaladores.
And the intermediate to advanced bowl, they wanted 4 to 5 foot shallow end and 8 to 10 foot deep on the deep end.
Y las personas de intermedio a más avanzado en la parte del bowl con 4 a 5 pies de profundidad en la parte menos profunda y de 8 a 10 pies de profundidad en la parte más profunda.
And the overwhelming result came in for the snake run by 216 votes. You know, they were saying a 3 foot shallow end with an 8 to 10 foot deep end. And the main focus of the whole park is to not make the skate park scary, make it fun. You know, so don't build things 12 feet tall. You know, keep things on the 8 to 10 foot range.
Y como les había mencionado antes, la parte más abrumadora fue la respuesta en cuanto al skate run. Pues la mayoría de personas lo solicitó con aproximadamente 216 votos y 3 pies en la parte menos profunda y 8 a 10 pies en la parte más profunda. Nos pidieron que lo mantuviésemos en un concepto o en una perspectiva de no ser de miedo, que no asustase a los participantes, sino que lo hiciéramos de una manera divertida para invitar a todas las personas a participar, a usarlo.
So the design that we put together was a street area that's 17,000 square feet, a plaza area that's 10,000 square feet, a flow bowl area that's 6,500 square feet, a snake run that's 9,000 square feet, and a bowl that caters to intermediate to advanced skaters that's 3,600 square feet. And with the site dropping to the southwest, we located the deepest object on the north side of the site.
Y pues el diseño que logramos obtener de todo esto fue un área de calle de 17,000 pies cuadrados y una plaza de 10,000 pies cuadrados con un flow bowl de 6,500 pies cuadrados y el snake run de 9,000 pies cuadrados, así como el bowl que les mencionábamos antes de 3,600 pies cuadrados con un enfoque en el área suroeste del área del parque.
Yes. So at this time, we want to tell everybody that this is just a conceptual design at this point. If everybody likes this design, this can absolutely fit on the site because we stayed within the boundaries of the trees and we don't have to remove any valuable trees. We're inside the area, the safe area of the sewer lines. And so we've done a good job placing all these features in the skate park. So what you're about to see is something that you could definitely have, but we're going to need your input and we're going to need to get specific on, with the surveys and with the feedback from this meeting, what you like and dislike about the design.
Y quiero que sepan que esto nada más es un diseño conceptual, eso quiere decir que nada más es algo que tenemos en papel, pero puede ser definitivamente un proyecto que quepa o encaje dentro de lo que ya tenemos establecido. Mantuvimos los límites absolutamente de los árboles, no vamos a tener que remover ningún árbol que sea vital o como parte de lo que ya se encuentra ahí. También mantuvimos nuestro diseño considerando las líneas de drenaje y definitivamente queremos escuchar la opinión de todos, así como la de las encuestas que se recibieron específicas.
And at the end of the meeting, we're going to open the meeting up to live chat and live questions and answers, and we'll take as much time as it needs to explain everything at the end of the meeting. So, please wait to the end with any comments or anything. We will, open it up to live chat.
Al final de la reunión vamos a tener oportunidad de hacer preguntas en el chat, con un live chat, con un chat en vivo. Por favor, todas las preguntas que necesiten hacerlas los pueden hacer ahí. Por favor, esperen al final para hacer estas preguntas o puntos o foros de discusión.
So here is the current layout that we just looked at with the different elements of the park. And for a future phase of the pump track, this is not part of this project. This is a future phase. So we want to make sure everybody understands that this is a possible future phase of the park, that there is an area for a pump track to be established in the future.
Y quiero mostrarles esta siguiente gráfica. Quiero que sepan que esta es una gráfica de un plan con un pump track agregado. Esto es nada más para que sepan que se puede agregar y se puede incluir, no es algo que ya esté establecido.
So this is the skate park layout as it fits into the site, and it's tucked up under the trees so it fits into the grading. And we paid attention to stay away from the natural drainage of the site that's caused by the dam.
Y esto es nada más una gráfica mostrando la distribución del parque, del diseño que hicimos, que cabe dentro de lo que ya está ahí, está de alguna manera acomodado bajo los árboles que ya existen y también que se intercala con más bien está diseñado de alguna manera para que coincida con el drenaje natural que ya existe con el dique que se encuentra en el agua.
This is a view from the skate park from Denton Drive, I believe, if you're looking from the west, if you're looking east. And so you can see how we fit the skate park down into the ground so it's easily visible from the street from all angles. So we're looking for a real safe skate park that's easy to view and easy to see, and there's no hidden spots or anything. Everything's open.
La imagen que tienen en pantalla es una imagen desde la parte de Denton Drive, desde el oeste al este. Es un diseño que permite de alguna manera una vista accesible sin puntos escondidos o ocultos.
So since the snake run was the most requested, we dropped this snake run in. It's relatively 8 to 10 feet deep on the deep end, and it winds down to about 3 foot deep, and it has a doorway feature in it.
Y esto que ven en la pantalla también es como lo mencionamos anteriormente, lo que más nos pidieron fue el snake run con una profundidad de 8 a 10 pies, la parte más profunda y 3 pies en la parte menos profunda.
This is another view looking south. Like if you're standing at the top of the hill, we're going to cut the grade in of the ground so it's level with the top. And we didn't put any sidewalks or any amenities in this drawing because once we finalize the skating elements, then we'll add the sidewalks in and everything.
Y esta imagen es una imagen vista desde la parte de arriba de la colina, hacia el sur, y cuando ya estemos realizando el proyecto vamos a nivelar el terreno para poderlo poner al mismo nivel de la parte más alta, y no incluimos ninguna banqueta ni ninguna otro artículo. Eso va a suceder cuando ya tengamos el diseño.
This is an example of the intermediate to advanced bowl that's 4.5 to 5 feet deep in the shallow end, 8 to 10 feet deep in the deep end. And we'll be looking for input if you want a kidney bowl, an egg bowl, or if you like this amoeba shaped bowl, we'll be looking for that input.
Este es un ejemplo de de un bowl de nivel intermedio con 4,5 a 8 pies en la parte menos profunda, de 8 a 10 pies en la parte más profunda. Vamos a estar también haciendo encuestas para ver quiénes puedan solicitar bowls de otros diseños como en forma de riñón.
So we tried to design everything with plenty of space around every element for contests and for people. So there'll be an extended sidewalk that goes around these elements for entry, safety, and everything. Right now, what you're seeing is just the deck for the actual riders to be on. But we'll take advantage of adding the additional area as we get more into the design.
Nosotros tomamos en cuenta el poder diseñar nuestros parques con cada uno de los elementos con suficiente espacio entre el uno y el otro para darle suficiente espacio a las personas o a los asistentes a poder circular dentro del parque y definitivamente con banquetas extensamente amplias por seguridad. Esto obviamente se va a agregar más adelante en el diseño.
And based on the feedback that we got, the majority of riders preferred pool coping in the bowl with tile, like a real swimming pool, so it would have tile and pool coping.
Y basado en la retroalimentación que obtuvimos de las personas que participaron, el diseño que decidimos hacer para el bowl es similar al de una alberca o una piscina con un borde como el que lo pueden ver en la pantalla.
Moving on to the next most popular transition feature is the flow bowl. And this feature is 4 to 6 feet deep with an 8-foot extension on it.
Y el siguiente diseño que tenemos en la pantalla es un flow bowl que tiene de 4 a 6 pies en la parte menos profunda y 8 pies de profundidad en la parte extendida.
So here's a few different angles with the bump in the middle, hips that launch onto a bank, rounded hips, pointed hips, bowl corners, so this is going to be a real fast area like you see, in the Olympics and the X Games of this riders riding it.
Y estas son otras diferentes imágenes del mismo bowl en diferentes ángulos, con algunos bordes rondeados y puntiagudos, como los que ven en las competencias de las Olimpiadas o de los X Games.
Now we're moving to the street course, and remember, this is a large street course. It's 17,000 square feet.
Y ahora vamos a hablar acerca del tramo de la calle. Es un tramo que fue diseñado por 17,000 pies cuadrados, muy, muy grande.
The majority of the riders asked to keep it, easy to ride, kind of a plaza layout that's really easy to get across. So we created a long linear design.
Y la mayoría de las personas que encuestamos nos pidieron que lo diseñáramos en forma de una plaza, fácil de manejar y de conducir a través de él.
The riders that you see inserted in the design are to scale. So this is the actual size of the park when you're looking at it. So starting from the east side, we have a China bank with a little pyramid bump out in it with brick stamping on the walls.
Y las imágenes de los usuarios que ven en la pantalla son a escala. Eso quiere decir que este es el tamaño real comparado con el tamaño del diseño que pueden ver en la pantalla que vamos a realizar.
A bump to ledge. You got to learn these skate things with me, Isaiah. Skate terminology. You're going to be a skater. So then a rail with a large set of stairs. Ledge.
Y un barandal con una
You're fine.
Un barandal con una escalinata y también una cornisa.
And step up to manual pad.
Y también una plataforma para poder subirse de forma manual.
And a Jersey barricade. Like a
Una barricada
highway
Jersey.
barricade.
I'm sorry, what was that?
A highway barricade. It's called a Jersey barricade.
Una barricada Jersey se llama.
Yeah, yeah. And so this is just another angle of the stairs.
Y pueden ver otro ángulo de la escalinata.
And a step up to manual pad.
Y también de la plataforma para subir.
Yeah, in the middle of the park, we got a bank to bank with the rail and a hubba.
Y en medio del parque pueden ver también un banco a banco con un barandal.
And you can see a couple of different versions. We got like a wall jam here, China Bank wall jam, and another view of the barricade.
Y hay otros diseños también como creo que dijo una wall jam, que me imagino es esa pared en forma de gema.
And this is a view from the middle looking east towards the China Bank wall.
Y esta es una vista desde la parte central del elemento hacia el lado oeste, perdón, este.
So we have like a double manual pad over here.
Y pueden observar que tenemos una plataforma manual doble.
A step up to manual pad.
Y otra plataforma de step up a manual.
Long rail.
Y ese barandal largo que pueden observar en el centro.
A big fat curb. Bank to wall jam.
Muy amplio.
Some more stairs and rails that sprinkle around the park.
Y también a través de todo el parque hay más graderías o escalinatas y también barandales.
And this is just another more bird's eye view, you know, of the step up.
Y esta es una vista desde el aire también de estas plataformas.
So this is a smaller set of stairs with rails on each side, one square and one round.
Y esta que pueden ver ahí que les está mostrando es otra nueva sección con otra escalinata más pequeña y un barandal también.
And then we have a long set of stairs. It's just a small 4-stair with another step up and a ledge and a couple of round rails, two round rails coming down.
Y hay otra escalinata más amplia con dos curvas semicirculares.
So the purpose of the layout of this design is to incorporate people staying on their mode of apparatus, their bike or their skateboard or their blades, and be able to hit all these ledges and rails, you know, and stay on. You know, instead of a lot of skate parks, you can just ride one thing at a time, you know, only. We try and line everything up in the skate park so you can hit it one trick after another and stay on your board.
El propósito de este diseño es para que todos los usuarios puedan mantener una fluidez de uno a otro elemento y puedan transicionar de uno a otro de los diseños que tenemos acá. Es siempre lo que hemos considerado, no como en otros parques donde solo pueden utilizar uno de los elementos a la vez. En este diseño que tenemos es más fluido, están conectados uno al otro.
So finalizing out the street course on the west side of the park, we have a long handicap bank down with a small 2-stair, a quarter pipe with a death box in the back transition. I'll go
Y para
slow.
terminar, el,
I'll go slower.
el
Well, these are
diseño,
handicap banks.
pueden ver cómo hay algunas rampas de acceso para personas con disabilidades.
A small two-stair that you can ride up and down.
Y hay también dos escalinatas pequeñas que pueden usar hacia arriba o hacia abajo.
Yeah, with different rails, manual pads, and ledges.
Así como también algunas cornisas y algunas manual pads y algunas barandales.
Ledges, yeah. And then a quarter pipe with a death box built into it and a roll-in.
Y también hay algunas incrustaciones de corner pads y de algunos rollings.
An extension, so you know, this is an extension, a roll-in, and a long edge to grind on in the back wall.
Y en el diseño, en el puntero rojo que estaba mostrando ahí, podían ver un roll-in en la parte superior izquierda de la pantalla.
In the back of the park, we have a skate plaza area that's long and flat.
En la parte trasera del parque hay una plaza de patinaje que es larga y es plana.
There's 3 predominant planters in the center of the area.
Y en el área central del área hay 3 áreas con plantas predominantes.
So just looking around the park from different angles, you know, so you could see that the plaza is real mellow, real flat, real easy to skate, trying to encourage, you know, the natural street skating vibe.
Y en realidad ver el parque desde cualquier área que ustedes desean verlo es un parque con mucha accesibilidad, muy agradable a la vista, muy fácil de utilizar cualquiera de los diferentes elementos que puedan usarlos.
And we have a banked slappy curb here.
Y aquí pueden ver un back con un sloppy curve.
We incorporated a art feature that's more like a hip to bank that you could do tricks on. And we're looking for input on different kind of art elements that we can bring into the park.
Estamos abiertos a cualquier tipo de elemento de arte que se pueda traer al parque y pueden ver algunos áreas que han sido diseñadas para usar para hacer trucos de cualquier tipo.
We got a bump to planter ledge. You know, a lot of people like something to jump over, so we thought it was important to put a small handicap bank to jump over an obstacle.
Mucha gente le gustan áreas que puedan saltar, así que podemos poner algunos obstáculos, como los pueden ver en la pantalla.
Normally, plaza area would have trees in it, but trees drop leaves and seeds and sticks and branches, so we picked out some elements that are sort of decorative, but this isn't set in stone yet. This is just an idea. It's just a concept right now, so we wanted to get some feedback on, you know, having a little bit of shade in the plaza area.
Algunos diseños cuentan con árboles dentro del área de la plaza. Tenemos que considerar que estos árboles dejan caer hojas o también semillas o pedacitos de ramas. Y para evitar eso, pues, aunque no es algo que esté ya fijo en el proyecto, consideramos estas pequeñas sombrías o áreas de sombra, pero estamos siempre abiertos a sugerencias.
And we want everybody to remember that there will be some shade obstacles in the park. There will be some benches. There'll be nice walkways, but that's going to be in the next presentation when we finalize the design.
Y recuerden todos que definitivamente van a ver otros elementos como bancas y banquetas. Eso lo van a ver en la siguiente presentación, en nuestra siguiente reunión.
Okay, so we wanted to talk about possible art and memorial elements that could be added into the park.
Queríamos hablar acerca de la posible incorporación de arte y de algunos elementos de recordación en el parque.
So we want everybody to remember their roots.
Para poder ayudar a que todo el mundo recuerde sus raíces.
These are some of the predominant skaters that came out of Dallas and Houston, you know, and they're the people that really put Dallas on the map.
Estos en la pantalla son algunos patinadores predominantes que salieron del área de Dallas y Houston. Son las personas que pusieron a Dallas en el mapa.
Yeah, so at contests, there would be like Florida, Virginia, California, and these were the guys from Texas that came and just like dominated.
Y en la competencia había gente de Florida, de Virginia, de California. Estos son los que de alguna forma vinieron del área de Texas y que dominaron la competencia.
One thing that I'm super happy that Tim Dickey remembered that there was a ramp built at Bachman Lake years ago, and it was the clown ramp.
Y algo que quisiera mencionar, que ya se mencionó anteriormente, es que hubo una rampa muy popular que se construyó hace muchos años.
Yeah, and so, you know, here's a few of the other skaters that came out of the area: Mike Crum, Dan Wilkes, John Comer, and Chris Gentry.
Estos son algunos de los patinadores que mencionaba anteriormente que salieron de esta área: el señor Dan Wilkes, Mike Crum, John Comer y Chris Gentry.
Yeah, and if you notice, John Comer only has one leg. He's got a prosthetic leg.
Y como pueden ver en la imagen, el señor Mike Crum solo tiene una pierna. I'm sorry, John Comer.
Yes.
Solo tiene una pierna prostética.
And we don't want to forget Craig Johnson.
No queremos olvidarnos tampoco de Craig Johnson.
Yeah, so also, you know, historically, Jeff Phillips skate parks back in 1990 was like a real important element. Jeff Phillips skate park and Arlo Eisenberg skate park, and I was lucky enough to build both of those parks.
Y también es bueno mencionar los parques arqueológicos de Jeff Phillips en los 90s.
So some of the thoughts are acid staining in the concrete to add art to the park.
Algunas de las ideas son agregar arte en el concreto.
Sandblasting in granite, you know, so we could take granite features and sandblast images into them.
Y también hacer sandblaseado en el granito, utilizar algunos de los elementos para hacer sandblaseado en el granito.
You know, we can do concrete inlays and acid staining.
Incrustaciones en el concreto también y algunas manchas con ácido.
We can also do artistic features in the park anywhere.
Y también podemos hacer algunos elementos de arte en el parque en cualquier lado.
Okay, so at this time, we'd like to open the meeting up to any comments or questions. And thank you, Isaiah. Thank you, Isaiah, for interpreting.
You're welcome. Preguntas o respuestas en este momento, por favor.
All right, that was awesome, Tim. Okay, I've got some questions for you. First one from Victor. Are you designing the Dallas skate park with wheelchair freestyle users in mind? The skate park is wheelchair friendly, but there were some issues with access into the facility.
Absolutely. Every site has their own challenges, and we do our best to get access to the site. So yes, we will have to take that into consideration.
So there was a lot of discussion about pump tracks. I don't think they were familiar. I'm not sure what the plan is for phase 2 on this pump track, but there was some confusion about if they were actually going to be concrete or if it was going to be, asphalt or dirt. So maybe you could show some examples.
Well, that's not part of this process. That's going to be in a future phase of the park, but that is in, it is in line to be worked on in the future. So those decisions will be made then.
Let's see, what else do we have here? People are really liking the art too. There's an emphasis on getting something specifically, maybe the Dallas Star or something like that, specifically, to show, Dallas pride into their park.
Absolutely. So, does anybody have any questions? Does anybody want to raise their hand or open themselves up to ask questions?
Preguntas, por favor, si pueden levantar su mano. Se estaba mencionando de algunas preguntas que se hicieron en el chat. Alguien dijo que si es un parque diseñado de manera accesible a personas con discapacidades, especialmente a sillas de ruedas. Otras personas dijeron que les gustaría ver el arte, que les gusta mucho el arte que está siendo promovida o va a ser incorporada, como por ejemplo sería bueno una estrella de Dallas, para de veras mostrar el orgullo de Dallas. Pero si alguien tiene preguntas, por favor.
I'm gonna go ahead and say something. This is Fania, and I want to thank you guys, Team Payne, and everybody involved in Clinton. But I just really want to make sure that as we go through these conceptual designs, that we include the neighborhood kids in the community in that area. Say somebody goes across the street, a child with a skateboard, one of the children have roller skates. I don't see that here, and I just want to make sure that we include. There's going to be so many different levels here for this park, and that we really engage and have access to the surrounding areas, from North Park Elm Thicket to the Lovefield area. So it's really a comment as well as a question.
Yes. Well, I mean, if you
Como
know.
comentario y como... Go ahead.
You can go ahead and explain the question, Isaiah.
Como comentario y pregunta la señora Sonia, pero dijo, me gustaría, sí entiendo, dice que esto es un diseño conceptual, todavía no está de alguna manera cerrada el diseño o el diseño final, pero quisiera saber si se integraron o consideraron a los niños del área, los niños que tienen o utilizan patines. Ya sé que hay muchos niveles en este parque que van a ser considerados o están siendo considerados en cuanto a expertos se refiere, pero quisiéramos saber, o yo quisiera saber, o que mantuviéramos en cuenta o tomáramos en cuenta a los niños del vecindario de este parque, para que ellos también tengan acceso a esto, especialmente con sus patines. Go ahead, Mr. Payne.
Yeah, so to answer your question, we directly responded to the request for input on what the users wanted. And, normally the learning curve for beginners is 6 months to a year. Most people that do real well riding advance really quickly. And so if you notice that the street course in the plaza area are real easy to ride with handicap ramps that come up on a 10-degree angle. There's nothing out there that's really big and scary. We're making sure to design the majority of the skate park that's intermediate level riders.
Gracias por su pregunta y definitivamente tomamos en cuenta esta información cuando hicimos las encuestas iniciales y lo que los utilitarios querían. Y para serle honesto, la curva de aprendizaje de una persona que está aprendiendo a utilizar patines o estos parques es aproximadamente entre 6 meses y un año, y se vuelven de principiantes a un nivel más avanzado y se desarrollan de manera muy rápido. También quiero mencionar que el área de la plaza es un área muy fácil, así como el área del nivel de la calle, de utilizar y con un ángulo de 10 grados en cuanto al diseño que se utilizó para poder hacerlo más accesible a todos estos niños.
I appreciate your comment. I just want to say, as a user of the Katy Trail sometimes, and walking, I know that there's aggressive bicyclists at times. So I just want to make sure if we're in this phase that there's due diligence to potentially have some area for that that's just for them, that does not have the jump there or anything like that. Just that we have, I mean, really we're at the beginning stages, so that we have this concept of really engaging all different levels. And I like how you have it, but I just want to make sure that potentially there's an opportunity to have a separate area just for them, so then they're not in the way of the more aggressive users, and not in a bad way. That's not a bad thing. I just want to be all inclusive.
Sure.
Thank you.
Good evening, this is Susanna Brown. I'm sorry, Tim, did you want to go now? I don't know how to raise my hand, and we were talking about technology.
Muchas gracias por su pregunta. Gracias por su respuesta y comunitaria de ello personalmente.
No, go ahead, please.
Bueno, gracias. Yo voy a hacer mi traducción yo misma. So Susanna Brown here. I had 4 items gracias, Isaiah, that I wanted to bring up. I don't see in the diagrams and in the designs the locations of the bathrooms. No veo en el diseño dónde van a estar localizados los baños. So if you could please point that out as soon as I'm done with my question, because I'll just be quiet afterwards so you can answer that. The next question I had, and I put this in the chat, had to do with security. The park is closed between 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. It's unclear, and I think this goes back to the point in design that we're at, that if you can please show us how this area will be secured, not just with perimeter security, but also, in the fall it gets darker and it'll need to be lighting. La segunda pregunta que tengo es con respecto a seguridad alrededor del perímetro de este parque, de esta área, y también seguridad con respecto de luces en esas épocas de año en que se oscurece más temprano. My 4th question had to do with the landscaping, and I think this kind of goes to what Fania was saying. There is no master plan for Bachman Lake Park and the interconnection of features. So the area where you had suggested the pump bike area would be a very interesting place to have an easy flow between the new regional aquatic center and the skate park. So the Parks Department, this is not a Team Payne issue, this is a Parks Department issue of designing some landscaping that brings these 2 facilities together. Mi tercer punto es que tiene que haber un plan de diseño de cómo se van a interconectar las facilidades del parque de Bachman Lake, del área acuática al área del skate park. Y eso no existe, y eso es responsabilidad del grupo de Parks y Rec de la ciudad de Dallas. And my final item has to do also with access. So similar to what Fania is saying, we have to be very aware that there's going to be a lot of folks that are coming from the neighborhood, and there is no way for people to get to the park safely. There are no wide sidewalks. This location was selected because of access to DART. People have to cross over a rail line and and two 6-lane roads to get to Bachman Lake Park. So the Parks Department needs to be engaging with the DART station to secure access to the parking lot at maybe at Bachman Lake, at the Bachman station, so that the skate park can be, yes, that's what they would have to cross to get to the skate park on the other side. El cuarto punto que tengo es el hecho de que no hay acceso seguro al parque de Bachman Lake de el DART Station, y no hay planes de este momento de parte de la ciudad de Dallas para dar acceso seguro. Y van a venir muchos niños de las áreas alrededor del parque y yo no entiendo cómo vamos a esperar que usen el parque de manera segura. So those are my points, and I will hand it over to the next person.
Tim Dickey would like to speak.
Thank you. First, I want to say great job, whoever's running the show here on this display. That's really good. Live action, seeing what we're talking about. The main point I would like to make is about the security, and I think it's critical that within the budget that exists, there be designed in, even if it costs amenities, to make sure we have lighting and a camera system, because there won't be any round the clock human supervision. We don't have enough park rangers to cover it, and it needs to be. We need to have cameras there and sufficient lighting, and I just want to make that point that that's as critical as any other feature. And I just saw there was an interesting installation at Renaissance Park that I saw that's also at Clyde Warren Park, a self-sufficient lighting system that's lights and cameras, solar powered. I see Calvert nodding. It's really interesting technology. So there is technology out there that's worth looking into that gives you three things in one. It's lights, cameras, and actually even internet, Wi-Fi. But some kind of technology like that there that could be workable might be good to look into. But that's my point, is lighting, cameras, security should be included in the design. And thanks for everything you're doing.
Muy buen punto. El señor Tim Dickey dice, muy buen punto en cuanto a este requerimiento. Quiero decir que de alguna manera en el presupuesto se va a incluir la parte de la seguridad y de la iluminación dentro del presupuesto y del diseño, específicamente cámaras de seguridad y iluminación, porque pues obviamente no tenemos suficientes park rangers o personal de seguridad para poder cubrir estos horarios y estas áreas en estas instalaciones. Y por ahí una instalación muy interesante que presentaba algunas características como energía solar, tecnología muy avanzada con iluminación, cámaras e incluso internet. Es algo que sería muy interesante poder ahondar un poco más en este tema.
So I can tell you from our perspective right now that we're in the conceptual design phase, trying to move into a hard design. Once we get the conceptual design finished with the input that we're gathering from this meeting, we'll fix all of the skate park features, and then we'll work on how we're getting to them from the different areas. We have local landscape architects and engineers that will be helping us along with the city make these decisions. And also, because of the nature of the site, we're dealing with a lot of stuff about adding buildings and stuff to the site's going to be very difficult. So we have a lot of hurdles to conquer. So right now we're doing all our fact finding and getting all the information, and we're documenting all the requests that are being gathered today, and we'll address those when we get answers for you.
Desde nuestra perspectiva, adelante, por favor. ¿Iba a decir algo? Not sure if somebody was going to say something. I'm going to interpret what was said. Desde nuestra perspectiva, esto nada más es un diseño conceptual. No hemos llegado a la parte del diseño fijo. Una vez hagamos hecho eso y con toda la información que tengamos en esta reunión y algunos hechos de facto que podamos reunir con el input o la retroalimentación que ustedes nos den, vamos a poder de alguna manera diseñar algo más específico con integración de esos elementos que puedan ayudarnos a integrar todas las áreas del parque, específicamente lo que se ha mencionado, porque pues no, podemos considerar y hemos visto que hay varias cosas, por ejemplo, en el proceso del diseño, edificios que hay que agregar, y hemos encontrado muchas otras cosas que van a ser de alguna manera atendidas una vez hayamos llegado a esa fase del plan.
I can make a comment publicly on the operations of the skate park. We follow the Tony Hawk Skate Park Guide. And 98% of the parks that we've constructed and designed do not have any fences up, and they're not controlled by a fence or a gate or, you know, any type of thing to prohibit the use of the park. They're free open to the public, so everyone can use them just like a basketball court or any other type of recreational area in the city. So if you notice in these pictures, not one of these parks have a fence around them. There's no gates, no operations. So that means like on a holiday, the park's open. They're open in the mornings for people that want to ride them at 6 o'clock in the morning. They're open in the evenings when the skate parks, the lights are on. And, you know, I mean, they're just open, free public space. So a lot of people that don't know about skate parks are real fearful of the type of crowd that's going to show up or whatever. But I can tell you that the majority of people that do go to skate parks are open, honest people that take care of kids, and they're going to take care of that skate park, and they're going to make sure that it's clean and that there's nothing going on. And that's why it's our job to make sure that the skate park's well visible, that you can see it from the streets, and that it's an open facility that is easy to monitor.
Yeah, Suzanne, go ahead, Isaiah, sorry, go ahead.
Quisiera mencionar también que nuestro diseño es un diseño abierto, con mucha iluminación, y es una área, obviamente, como lo he mencionado anteriormente, pública, de acceso libre a todas las personas que desean utilizarlo, las personas que no saben acerca del diseño o la utilización de parques de patinaje. Típicamente son personas que tienen sus reservas o miedo acerca de qué tipo de grupos de personas vayan a utilizarlo o estar acercándose a estos parques. En mi experiencia puedo decirle que la mayoría de personas que utilizan estos parques son personas que son respetuosas y cuidan especialmente los menos expertos o a los niños. Precisamente por eso el diseño de este parque es un diseño muy limpio, muy abierto, muy accesible, muy visible, con mucha iluminación. Adelante.
So, Mr. Payne, I just wanted to, this is Susanna, I just wanted to make sure that you were aware that my comment is not related to the skaters or the skating community, not at all. And I apologize if that's how it came across.
No.
The request for security around the skate park is due to issues that we have already had in the area where we've had to shut down the parking lots at Bachman Lake because of misuse. Because of drinking, because of congregation, trashing of the area. So That is what we were trying to avoid because we actually want to really protect this amazing feature that we're going to be adding to the city from misuse from people that wouldn't necessarily be skaters because the skaters I think are absolutely going to appreciate what you guys are designing and bringing to the table.
Yeah, and of course the operations of the facility is really none of my business. That's the job of the city and the city's attorneys and the parks department to establish. But I can tell you in the experience of all skate parks, good people being at the skate park disperses the bad element. You know, the people that are drinking and there's no place to hang out and hide and you know, like so having the good element there is going to displace the bad element.
Susana dice, quisiera asegurarme de que mi comentario no haya sido malinterpretado, especialmente relacionado en cuanto a la seguridad. En ningún momento quise hacerlo de esa manera, si así se entendió, quiero aclararlo, no es eso. Simplemente hemos tenido problemas anteriormente en cuanto a la seguridad, en cuanto a parques se refiere, y las áreas de los parques específicamente, a personas que se dedican a congregarse allí, especialmente personas que toman, hacen basura y queremos proteger este elemento que estamos construyendo, vamos a construir y vamos a tener disponible para nuestra comunidad, precisamente por eso fue mi comentario. La respuesta fue, obviamente esta no es mi área de injerencia, el señor Tim Payne dice, eso es la administración de la seguridad y las operaciones del parque van a ser establecidas por la ciudad y por el área específicamente de parques y recreaciones de la ciudad. Pero sí le puedo comentar de que las personas que van a estar utilizando las áreas de el patinaje son personas buenas que van a dispersar de alguna forma a esas otras personas que no tienen buenas intenciones. Normalmente es un efecto que sucede en ese tipo de parques. Thank you, Mr. Payne. Thank you.
Hey everyone, this is Joe Carrion, member of the Dallas School Board, if I may. There's two comments. One is I think, well, first I want to say thank you to Team Payne, thank you to our park board member Tim Dickey in District 6 and Fania Mondale in District 2 and Clinton Haley, Councilman Narvaez and Moreno. I mean, so many people have worked on this project for so long, and it's so cool to finally like begin to see it come together and see where it's actually going to be and how it's going to be laid out. And so I'm immensely grateful. I was born and raised there in Blockman Lake, still live in Blockman Lake, and now I have the great honor of representing my community on the Dallas School Board. And I just wanted to add for the team because I'm not a skater yet, but you know, for Team Payne and maybe my friends Dr. Haley or company see it in the design, but in this neighborhood we have more 0 to 5-year-olds than in any other part of the county, and which arguably puts us probably very high in any part of the state. We have 6 elementary schools within a 1-mile radius there in that part of Northwest Dallas. Cigarroa, Burnett, Foster, Joe May, Uplift Triumph, Callier. I'm missing probably another one there. And so I don't know in the design, and it might be, and that's fine, but I just want to kind of add, it might speak to what Fania was speaking to, is that space where our littlest skaters can learn to get on a board and begin to do moves and not get caught up with our more advanced intermediate skaters. I think it's a little bit about what Fania was saying, but I guess more tailored, not specifically to just new skaters, but specifically to the youngest skaters that we have. And then, while I'm speaking, I think I also just second on the art piece. This portion of Northwest Dallas is an art desert. We have up until recently, I know in Dallas ISD, we created a couple murals at Brunel Elementary School and elsewhere, but there really is no public art in this part of town. And so I really encourage Team Payne, to really think big. And both, I'm looking at what's on the screen now, and I see that big kind of art piece there. I saw some of the comments. You don't want to overdo it where it looks, tacky or not presentable. But I really would kind of encourage the team to find kind of a really signature piece, something that really speaks to the area, that's really kind of attractive. That when you look at it, that's not just a piece of that's not just part of the skate park, but it's an iconic kind of Northwest Dallas piece of art, because you can't think of one right now. And so, I think that's really needed. And so I'll just I'll end my comments there, and also finally end with just again appreciation for everyone involved. And I'm sorry you say that. I'm so sorry for going long.
That's okay.
I don't think I'm going to be able to interpret all of that, but I will make a summary of what he said. El señor Joe Carrillo del área de las escuelas de Dallas, del board de escuelas o de la cámara de escuelas, dijo, tengo un par de comentarios. Quiero agradecerle mucho al equipo de Payne en la presentación que hicieron en el distrito 6. Es conmensurable que hablemos acerca de eso y acerca de lo que algunos de los otros participantes mencionaron. Yo sé que toma mucho poder hacer un diseño como este que se mencionaba, y sé que se habló acerca de la parte de los niñitos, el uso del parque de los niñitos. Y pues yo crecí en esta área. No soy un patinador todavía, pero me gustaría mencionar de que esta área es un área de muchas escuelas preescolares, donde de alguna manera de 0 a 5 años es la mayor población de estudiantes en esta área, más que en cualquier otro lado en el condado. Y mencionó varias escuelas que forman parte de este distrito escolar, y quiero también hacer mención acerca de eso porque queremos que este parque sea de alguna manera accesible para estos niñitos sin que estén de alguna manera interrumpiendo o sean un obstáculo para los otros usuarios de nivel más avanzado o intermedio para el parque. En cuanto al diseño del parque y del área del arte, de lo que se estaba hablando, les motivo, les insto a que al equipo de diseño que sigan buscando. No tenemos muchas murales en estas áreas de arte pública, y quiero motivarlos a que piensen en grande, a que busquen un área, un objeto, dijo, un diseño icónico, que sea presentable, que no sea demasiado abrumador, que no sea demasiado que absorba el atractivo del parque, simplemente que sea icónico para representar el área del noreste de Dallas. Lo necesitamos. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to just this is Clinton Haley. I think James and Jonathan mentioned this in the comments, but I think it's an important point to make. The street area, the snake run, all these little gray transitions that you see in the diagram here would be great places to learn. My son and I, we started out skateboarding when he was 6 years old, went to all the DFW parks in the suburbs. They're not necessarily designed for little kids, but each of these little transitions at every park, you find the smaller ones, your kid gets comfortable in those, and then you graduate to the other ones. And you also learn when the park is crowded, when it's not crowded. Well, teenagers, young adults usually get there, late afternoon, evening. So mornings on weekends, right after school are great times for younger kids to go. So not only is it certain areas of the parks that would be good to learn, but also the times that you go. James made a great point that parents, little kids don't understand skate park etiquette. It's just they can't grasp the spatial nature and take your turn. So it's really important for parents to come out, see how things are going. And then once those kids, whatever age, whether they're 4 years old or they're 10 years old or they're 20 years old, once they kind of understand the flow of it, there actually is some sense to the circulation of skaters, riders, bladers in the park, and they'll catch on fast. And believe it or not, the older skaters love seeing little kids out there trying their best, trying new tricks, just trying to stand on a board. And believe it or not, most of them will take those kids under their wings and help them get to the next step. So it's a beautiful thing. I see this plan as a real neat one for all ages. So I think that regardless of the age, kids in Bachman are going to love this.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Clinton, that the parks operate a lot like a basketball court where the younger kids come earlier in the day and then closer to the evening, the better guys show up and the younger guys will stand back and watch the better guys and then they'll want to be the ones chosen to be out there playing, So it's very, kind of there's a nonverbal understanding of what's going on, and the older guys do take care of the younger guys, and they're very respectful. But when the older guys show up to, kind of take over, that's why the skate park is huge. Like this is a huge skate park. It's not small by any means. So there's plenty of area that's going to be built around the skate park to transition into the skate park. What you're seeing right now is just the skate park features. And so that was one of the questions during the first public input meeting too. Would the riders prefer a beginner's area? Would they prefer a plaza? So just to show you, a plaza area mimics like a street, where there's plenty of flat and there's just some ledges, So instead of having like a beginner's area where there's just a flat bar and a manual pad, you actually have, features that are actually rideable. So beginners can pass by, walkers can pass by, but there's features within there that are going to be easy to ride. So the majority of the riders chose a plaza over a beginner's area because it's going to get used more in the long run. If that makes sense.
El señor Clinton Haley nos decía, gracias, quisiera hacer un comentario, ya lo mencionó James y Jonathan anteriormente, hay áreas en este parque, y específicamente hablando de los niños, dice, hay áreas grises, a lo que se refería eran áreas de transición entre un elemento y el otro que son más fáciles de utilizar. Esas áreas de transición son áreas que eventualmente las personas aprenden a utilizar, especialmente con niños pequeños, y dejan usarlos a esas áreas hasta que aprenden y se gradúan a utilizar las áreas más grandes donde los niños de más avanzada experiencia o los adultos puedan llegar. Definitivamente hay que considerar también, es algo que se aprende. Yo con mi hijo lo hacía cuando comencé a llevar a mi hijo al parque de patinaje, a llegar temprano cuando uno tiene niños pequeños, y la mayoría de niños pequeños llegan en la mañana o el fin de semana temprano, y más adelante los niños más grandes o adultos o adolescentes llegan a jugar en las tardes. Hay muchas personas que realmente no entienden la etiqueta del uso de los parques, pero se va aprendiendo, es algo que sucede y que fluye de alguna manera y tiene un sentido común en cuanto a eso, y todos los patinadores respetan a los niños más pequeños, hasta los toman bajo su brazo para poderles seguir enseñando. Y así es como sucede esto. A lo que responde respondió el señor Payne, dijo, sí, es básicamente lo mismo que sucede en un área de básquetbol o una cancha de básquetbol en una comunidad. Los niños más pequeños llegan a jugar básquetbol más temprano y más adelante o más tarde en el día llegan los más expertos y ellos se quedan a verlos para aprender a jugar como ellos juegan. Quiero también recordarles que esto es nada más un diseño con los elementos más importantes del parque en cuanto a diseño se refiere, y más adelante vamos a diseñar cómo integrarlos todos en una sola plaza. Y también para poderles mencionar, el área de la plaza o la calle es el área más fácil de utilizar, donde van a poder llevar a sus niños o las personas o los niños principiantes van a poder utilizarlos, donde fácilmente los peatones y los niños pueden patinar y circular. Thank you, Mr. Payne.
Thank you.
So Tim, somebody wants to know how tall the ledges are in the street course.
They're varying from 4 inches to 2 feet tall. So from 4 inches to 2 feet. So like this ledge right here is 16 inches. It's 6 inches in the front. This is an 8-inch manual pad. So we sprinkled a bunch of different size to make it technical and not difficult, because that was the biggest request that we have from all the users, is make the park technical and not big.
Alguien preguntó qué tan altos van a ser las repisas o las cornisas. La respuesta fue desde 4 pulgadas hasta 2 pies de alto.
Jim, kind of a smaller question. In the bowl, you mentioned tile and pool coping. We've got a bowl out in Roanoke, Texas, that's got really neat tile, black and white, fun to skate on right under the coping. But in the deep end, where it gets hit the most, there are several tiles that come out frequently. I guess, how do you avoid that? Can we do more like stamped concrete with tile texture, or do you have more durable tiles? It just seems like once those tiles are put in, which I love tile, how do we ensure in this design that, you know, we're not dealing with, you know, tiles that fall out and then all of a sudden it seems that that band of missing tile is now not usable.
Yeah.
Esa fue una pregunta específica en cuanto al diseño y la construcción de algunos de estos bowls. Se preguntó acerca de la utilización de azulejos o albarquillas y de alguna manera qué se puede hacer para prevenir de que en el futuro estos azulejos puedan caerse y provocar de alguna manera alguna. Go ahead, Mr. Payne.
Yeah, we specifically use dowel tile. It's a harder tile than your regular off-the-shelf tile. It's specifically manufactured for swimming pools. And so, you know, because it's baked harder and the ceramics in it is a lot more durable. And so it really is the quality of the tile that you get and also the installation. So, you know, so that's important. But yeah, there is, you know, several projects that we did where we did solid poured coping around the whole skate park. So there's no, you know, camel toes and no joints. You know, it can be a cantilever pool coping that's solid poured. And then you can also do stamped tile to mimic tile, but it doesn't actually feel as good as real tile does.
And along those same lines, so the coping right above the tile. Isaiah, you want to go ahead?
I'm sorry, I thought you were going to finish your sentence. Let me interpret what the answer was. La respuesta fue, tratamos de utilizar de alguna manera azulejo para construcción de albercas. Es un tipo de azulejo mucho más duradero, horneado de manera más larga o por más tiempo. Y definitivamente de mucha más alta calidad, con una instalación mucho más específica para este tipo de utilización. Ya hemos utilizado de alguna forma albardía sólida para construir algo otros juegos o algo otros elementos de juego de patinaje anteriormente, pero nunca va a ser nada comparado con la utilización de azulejos. Es el material de preferencia donde realmente se siente bien utilizarlo. Go ahead.
So sorry, so Tim, one more question about the bowl. So the coping itself, we've got a couple of bowls in the Metroplex that the grout between the pool coping sections gets well loved and eventually it kind of grinds out. And so once again, you're kind of left with a gap where people want to grind up on the coping, and we've got a big gap there now. There's, from what I understand, some possibility, and I don't know if it works for bowls that we're considering, like kind of more of a poured-in-place type coping that would alleviate the problem of having, you know, different sections where you've got to grout in between, which seems to be kind of the weakest point in terms of long-term wear.
Yes, and if you want, we can incorporate a Stegmeyer form it's a foam form that goes around the top of the bowl, and it's a solid poured concrete, so you don't have any joints.
Is there any drawback or benefits to that other than what I just mentioned?
You don't get the click, 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 click sound. It feels smoother, you know, it doesn't have a gritty of a feel as a regular pull block does. But a lot of that can be the application too. I mean, when you're setting the blocks, you should set the coping tight together so the joint is as small as possible. And then you use a harder material than the actual concrete blocks as your joining material. So you don't just use, you know, just like a grout, you know, because grout's, you know, a lot of sand. So you want to use a harder material than the actual coping.
La segunda parte de la pregunta fue en cuanto al utilizado de aldabardía de concreto para las cornisas, y dijo, ¿habrá alguna forma de hacer esto de alguna forma más duradera para evitar de que eventualmente se vayan cayendo algunos pedazos y pues dejen algunos secciones que puedan causar accidentes? Dijo, sí hay una forma de chorreado de concreto mucho más sólido, utilizando algún tipo de esponja que deja más liso el diseño para evitar que no hayan secciones. Eso ayuda, por supuesto, se utilizan materiales mucho más duros, ayuda a evitar de que con el uso se vayan deteriorando.
So Matt just reminded me that Dow Tile's headquarters is in Dallas. I'd forgotten about that.
That would be awesome to get some custom tile made from them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I might be able to pull up something here. So is there any more skaters that have any questions? Any more actual bike riders or skaters that have any questions?
¿Alguien más con preguntas? Gente que utilice bicicletas o patinadores presentes que quieran hacer preguntas específicas.
And then Jacqueline, you want to go ahead and start sharing that link to the survey? There's like a 25 question survey for everybody to fill out after the meeting too.
Tenemos una encuesta de 25 preguntas que podemos pedir que nos hagan el favor de llenar después de la reunión. Está la señorita Jacqueline poniéndola en el chat, por favor, si lo pueden ayudar a comenzar a llenar.
I'd like to say just one more, this is Clinton again, one more thing about the fencing. And again, I'm not the expert on Dallas parks, but in terms of skate parks, I've talked with a lot of people at the Tony Hawk Foundation, skated a lot of modern parks around the Metroplex. As I believe Matt left the call, but Roanoke, Arlington, Frisco, McKinney, the new Fort Worth Park, all do not have gates around it. I think what Tim mentioned, visibility, placement of the park and its features near main thoroughfares, such as we've done here, goes a long way. As Tim Dickey mentioned, with lighting will be critical. Those things should really help keep folks that would do things to the skate park in other hours, hopefully deter them. It seems to work for most modern skate parks. Sure, you'll find exceptions with gates around them, but it really is nice to treat it as a public park, something that families and skaters and bikers can just pull up, get out, use like a tennis court, use like a baseball field, use like a soccer field, rather than gates. When are they going to open it? Oh, they're closing it already. Oh, it's a holiday. They open at 10 instead of 8 today. That's very frustrating, knowing that every other amenity in the park is not treated like that. There's a walking trail here at Bachman Lake. Being separated by a gate from the walking trail, not only is that a physical barrier, but it's a mental barrier too. You're not really part of the park. You're sequestered over here in this skate park. So it actually does have an impact on the users of the skate park as well. And there's a great podcast from the Skate Park Project, that's the Tony Hawk Foundation, that talks about this and what you really need to think about before you put up a gate around your public park. So just for the record, I would love to have this kind of more of a open, flowing communication. Hey, the walking trail at Bachman Lake comes by the skate park. They can look at the neat things that skaters and bikers are doing at the park while they walk by, and not really feel like they're on one side and the skaters and bikers on the other. It should be part of the entire park. Just my 2 cents.
Alguien hizo otro comentario en cuanto a utilizar seguridad alrededor del parque. Hay parques en toda el área del Metroplex que no tienen de ninguna forma ningún tipo de barandal. En Arlington, en Frisco, en McKinney no hay portadas, no hay paredes, no hay cercas. Y es importante, como Tim lo mencionó, que la visibilidad sea muy amplia en cuanto al diseño, la iluminación sea crítica. Eso va a ayudar a mantener a estas personas que no tienen intenciones buenas con el parque alejadas de él. Y por supuesto que hay excepciones en parques que sí están circunvalados o están cerrados, pero pues de alguna manera es frustrante tener que estar dependiendo de un horario para poder utilizarlo. Y hay que tomar en cuenta que también Bachman Lake tiene una caminata, un área de caminata muy amplia que se puede aunar al parque. Queremos que eso sea de alguna manera una barrera no solo física, sino mental, sintiéndose atrapado de un lado y no poder utilizar el parque de patinaje al mismo tiempo. Por eso queremos que se mantenga conectado y que fluya de alguna manera y no sentir que estén separados. Thank you.
Clinton, this is Susanna. Maybe you and I should chat a little bit more, because I would definitely like to understand in that case why in Tulsa and other parks, they did decide to put some security around it. So, I mean, I hear what you're saying in terms of the open flow, but some cities seem to take maybe slightly different approaches. And with the challenges that we've had in the area, and they have a walking path that goes right by it. So with the challenges that we have had already from a security perspective in the area, I I would like to figure out what type of, you know, how we address this, because if it is problematic in the future, maybe something will need to be done. So, give me a ring. Let's talk a little bit about why maybe like Gathering Place, they did put the netting structure around the BMX, all of their facilities so that they could manage accessibility. So.
Susana, me gustaría entonces tal vez platicar acerca de esto un poquito más, tal vez tú y yo platicamos acerca de esto, pues así podemos llegar a una forma más aclaratoria acerca de lo que estamos discutiendo. Hay parques, por ejemplo, en Tulsa y en otros lugares donde el diseño sí incluye portadas, sí incluye cercas para poder administrar el flujo de personas y esto, pues desde la perspectiva de seguridad, tenemos que en algún momento atenderlos y en algún momento llegase a ser necesario. Pues el parque, por ejemplo, de Gathering Place en Tulsa tiene algún tipo de control de visitantes.
Hi, this is Tim Dickey. I would just like to add that there's going to be a component of this that does interact with the park curfew. The park's hours are 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. and this is currently a closed off maintenance facility of the Park and Recreation Department. So this area currently is at restricted access, but when it's opened up to 24-hour access, there's going to be a question about how we make that work with park curfews, and I'm sure there's an answer, but I just want to throw that in there that's I think going to be a factor.
Mi nombre es Tim Dickey y quisiera agregar que también hay el componente de interactuar con la parte de parques y recreaciones, especialmente con el horario de utilización de este parque. Tenemos un horario de utilización de 5 de la mañana a las 11 de la noche, con acceso restringido pues en el resto del horario. Cuando vaya a haber necesidad de tener abierto el parque las 24 horas, de alguna manera tenemos que llegar a un acuerdo de cómo integrar esto.
And Tim, you know, I don't know, you know better what the street lighting is like around there in the proximity to the planned area for the skate park, but you know, in my experience, whether you're at the Irving Skate Park or at McKinney, literally the minute the lights go out, you do not want to be trying to ride a skateboard or a bike downstairs or in a bowl, right? You just can't see. So activity ends pretty quickly once those lights turn out. So in terms of users trying to skate, you know, once those lights are out, they want to live to skate another day. They're not going to risk that, you know?
Well, that's a good point, but I was thinking more about kids who aren't necessarily wanting to go there and skate. Right across the street are hundreds and hundreds of kids that live in these apartments, and a dark skate park like that would certainly it would have enticed me as a high schooler with no intention of skating necessarily. So that's kind of more of the lines I was thinking along. But you make a good point.
Yeah, that's a good point too, though, Tim.
Yeah, and we make sure that all the skate parks have a 5-minute warning light that comes on that notifies the rider that the lights are going out. And that's one thing that's really nice about the modern lighting systems that are LED lighting is they don't take any warm-up time or shutdown time. So you can put dimmers on them and you can actually control the lights in phases to kind of work your way out of the park so it starts shutting off from the back to the front. And it'll kind of push the people out of the park as the lights shut off.
Se hizo comentario acerca de la utilización, especialmente de la iluminación. Dice alguien por ahí, la iluminación del parque a la hora de cerrar operaciones se va a estar cortando. Por lo tanto, hay estas personas que vienen a utilizar el parque en horas después de operaciones no lo van a poder hacer o al menos van a querer preservar su integridad física, pues usar el parque sin luces no es nada seguro. Pues también se hizo el comentario acerca de otras personas que no van a venir a utilizar el parque con la intención de patinar específicamente. Y pues sí me estaba aclarando acerca de la utilización del sistema de iluminación de LED con automatizadas que no necesitan calentamiento o precalentamiento, pero tienen un sistema de advertencia 5 minutos, me parece, dijo, para dejar de saber a todo el mundo que las luces están a punto de ser cortadas.
This is Susanna again. I wanted to thank everybody on the call for participating and the great designs that have been presented. This is super exciting. We are very excited, as Joe had said earlier, in the Bachman area to get this amazing park in our backyard. I do want to understand, I know it sounds like maybe the city of Dallas has some of the next steps on potentially a meeting where we can get a better understanding about bathrooms, parking, will there be a food truck area? You know, what does the landscaping tie-in look like in terms of to the aquatic center, to the Bachman Lake Trail? How is access to the DART station going to be enabled? So I don't think those are necessarily team pains. Those are probably items that interconnect. But some clarity on how, what are the next steps? I would love to hear that before I have to drop off.
Quiero agradecerle a todos por participar. Estoy muy emocionada de saber que en el área de Bachman vamos a tener un parque como este. Y yo sé que hay otras cosas que la ciudad de Dallas va a ser responsable en cuanto a la distribución y colocación de baños, de parqueos, de áreas para camiones de comida, así en realidad la integración de otras áreas, pero no son realmente la responsabilidad del equipo de team, pero sí me gustaría saber qué otros pasos van a haber después de esto, antes de retirarme.
Susanna, this is Leon. You know the aviation department is working on Denton Drive as part of the Good Neighbor program. And we did bring up the issue about the connectivity, accessibility from DART station to this park. And I believe if in the next meeting, if the neighborhood can advocate for that, I think that would be very helpful to us because number one, we have a limited budget. Number two, it's hard for us to work outside the right of way, outside the park because transportation will not let us really dictate how we want to connect and all that. So they need the Denton Drive initiative by the aviation department because they work with transportation as well as the COG and all these other funding sources. So that would be a very good, I think, help that we can get from the neighborhood. If y'all can advocate for us for that. And on the other thing about the security, all that, there is an outer fence. May not be the best shape, but we can, when we find the funding, we can enhance that. But to keep it open, I think we can come up with a win-win situation. If we have a fence that go the entire property, like before the place was vacated, for this, our maintenance yard has a fence already. But if we just keep the gate open, only the entrance open, people are not going to be feeling comfortable going somewhere that's surrounded by fences. And there's only very few escape routes, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Because I understand that. But we also have the park ranger and marshals that, they are the expert on security. And we can kind of meet with them and then hear their suggestion because at the end of the day, they are the ones who are going to get called. They're the ones going to be enforcing those. So we will be glad to consult with them and show them what we got as we get closer to the site part of it.
El señor León dijo, yo trabajo con el Departamento de Aviación en Denton Drive y como parte del programa de Buen Vecino, estamos trabajando en hacer una conexión aquí con el parque. Creo que en sus siguientes reuniones, si pudieran ustedes de alguna manera lugar porque nos ayuden con el presupuesto para poder extendernos de alguna manera. Yo sé que hay muchos que hacer y mucho que trabajar, pero el Departamento de Aviación también trabaja con el Departamento de Transporte y ellos son los recursos que financian este tipo de proyectos. Por favor, si pueden de alguna manera abogar por nosotros. En cuanto a la seguridad, sé que hay un área que encierra todo esto, un barandal que encierra toda esta área y posiblemente si pudiéramos hacer de alguna manera en el futuro, trabajar para poder hacerlo, sería bueno, pero también hay que considerar que si las personas saben que hay un cerco alrededor de todo eso, no se van a sentir tan cómodos en visitar. Creo que sería bueno incluir a parte de los rangers y la parte de los guardabosques, que son los que se van a encargar de la seguridad y al fin y al cabo es a ellos a los que se va a llamar en caso de ser necesario.
Thank you, Leon. And yes, as you well know, we have continuously been requesting this access. However, it is my personal opinion that it is the responsibility of the Parks Department of Dallas, given the investments and City Council, Councilman Narvaez and Councilman Moreno, of ensuring that there is safe access from the DART station over to Bachman Lake Park. The Department of Transportation does not own or manage the Denton Drive. The area that you are talking about is clearly within the responsibility of what the Parks Department should be driving and engaging, not just the Department of Transportation, but the DART station as well. If you need assistance with doing that, let me know, but I would be looking to you and David to facilitate a meeting with the Department of Transportation and the DART station to figure out how we create a better secure access from that location over to what will be the park. We're going to have this park built and we're not going to have good access from the areas surrounding. This is something Fania has brought up, Joe has talked about this, and it continues to be ignored.
Muchas gracias, Leon, por tu contribución. Continuamente se ha hecho esta solicitud para tener acceso a través del Departamento de Parques de Dallas. Es la responsabilidad de ellos. El Departamento de Transporte no es el propietario del área de Denton Drive y pues obviamente es el Departamento de DART Station quienes deben de involucrarse. Hay que facilitar una reunión entre el DART Station y el Departamento de Transportes para poder llegar de alguna manera a una inclusión en cuanto a esos, pero vamos a construir este parque sin acceso a esta área.
Yes, and Fania and Tim, I know you were on the call. This is something that the Parks Board, and I don't know if Calvert is still there, has to help push. This is unacceptable.
Yeah, I just want to weigh in on that also, that I think it is imperative for the park department to try to do something extraordinary, more than what they may be thinking they want to do, because there was no parking plan for these two regional facilities that are put into this otherwise peaceful and quiet part of this park, separated from the community by 6 lanes of fast traveling traffic. And so that I think it's incumbent on the staff of the park department to help us sort out the mess, and that means extraordinary coordination with streets and DART and anybody else to try to get it done. And I'm willing to make that position at Park Board and on the policy side, because I just have to agree. I think there needs to be a change in direction here in terms of how it just seems to silo. is too late for silos. We need to get unsiloed when it comes to these connections. That's my two.
Agreed. And-
Necesitamos hablar con,
Ay, perdón. Pásale, Sam.
creo que necesitamos poner y hablar con el departamento de parques y el área de parques y la cámara de miembros del parque para poder ayudar a empujar esto. Es inaceptable, es imperativo que el departamento de parques haga esto. No es posible que dos proyectos como estos sean diseñados de manera separada con una división o separación de una avenida o carretera con 6 carriles. Es definitivamente responsabilidad del Departamento de Parques arreglar este enredo para poder cambiar de dirección. Go ahead, please.
No, I'm just gonna state that, I mean, it's a problem that we have in many areas, and this doesn't have anything to do with this meeting, but we have it at Samuel Grand Park as well, in Tennyson Glen. So there is an opportunity here for Tim and I to go back to our board, and get others involved, like Calvert, like Rudy, who I saw was on this as well. So, and again, thank you, Tim. Gracias, Isaias, and thank you, Clinton. And thank you, Susana, for all that you're doing in this area.
Yo creo que no es un problema nada más de este proyecto, no es parte de esta reunión, pero hay otras áreas y otros proyectos que están en la misma situación. Es una oportunidad para que Tim y yo y otros miembros de la Cámara que estaban aquí presentes podamos llevarlo a una reunión aparte.
I think we all owe Isaías a huge round of applause.
Bravo.
Sure.
Well, thank you everybody for joining in at the meeting. And if that's all the comments right now, we'd like to close the meeting. If anybody has some last words to say, please feel free.
Si alguien tiene las últimas palabras, vamos a despedirnos y terminar la reunión.
I'll just say, being a novice at a lot of these parks meetings, it's really fun to see Parks Board, City Council members, neighborhood leaders, Parks and Rec Department members all, participating actively in it. And also wanting to learn about it and kind of how this park element ticks. So I appreciate your time and look forward to working with you guys as we move forward with it. Thank you.
And I just want to thank Clinton and Skateparks for Dallas and everybody, because this is going to be a great, great thing. It's going to be huge, hugely good. So thank you.
Quiero agradecer a todas las personas que han participado. Estoy muy impresionado de ver cuánta gente participa, miembros de todos los departamentos. Hay gente, líderes aquí en estas reuniones que están queriendo aprender, no solo participar. Y la otra persona dijo, definitivamente quiero agradecerle a Clinton del parque de patinaje de Dallas. Esto va a ser un proyecto muy grande. Gracias.
Well, thank you everyone. This has definitely been a great meeting and we've gathered a lot of information and good concerns. So thank you everybody for joining in. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Don't forget to share the survey with everyone.
Will do, Tim.
Thank you guys.
Thanks.
Por favor, compartan la encuesta.
Team Payne, I really appreciate you guys. There's going to be a lot of the community in the area that won't have access to internet, that won't have access to this link. And I think those are the ones that Tim and I represent in our voices as park board.